What's the deal, everybody? Now, I'm standing here at 1137 West Street in Parkville, Missouri. Now, here, perched up on a limestone bluff like a sentry guarding the ghost of the past, sits Washington Chapel C.M.E. Church. Now, to the casual passerby, it is a modest relic of late Gothic revival architecture. But if you lean in close, and if you listen to the wind rattling the window panes, you realize that this isn't just a building, it is an architectural miracle. It is a beacon on a hill built by hands that once knew the cold, rhythmic bite of Shackles. Now, to understand these stones, you have to understand the soil that they are rooted in. Now, this is Platte County. Following the Platte Purchase, this land became a kingdom of hemp, a crop that demanded back-breaking labor and fed on the sweat of the enslaved. But before the Civil War, the founders of this congregation were spiritual nomads. They were relegated to slave balconies and white churches, forced to peer down from the shadows at a gospel that often forgot they were human. But faith is a stubborn thing, isn't it? It grows in the dark. Now I'm looking around, man, this is a beautiful building. Now, as early as 1870, just years after the chains fell away, the formerly enslaved people of Parkville began to gather. They met in secret in brush arbors where the canopy was their only roof. But for 37 years, this community saved their pennies and clinging to the hope of a sanctuary where no one could ever again tell them where to sit or how to pray or how to do anything, how to worship. Now, in 1907, that hope finally took a physical form. The stones you see here are native limestone. They weren't shipped in. They were pulled from the very Missouri earth that these people had been forced to till. Now, there is a deep poetic justice in that, isn't it? If you look at the heavy timbers supporting the roof, you're looking at the bones of an old college barn. Now, there's a profound metaphor in those rafters. Materials once used to shelter livestock were repurposed by the children of slaves to house the Holy Spirit. When this church was dedicated on June 29th, 1907, it wasn't just a building opening its doors, it was a community announcing its arrival. These walls held dreams of the blacksmiths. Think about that, like all the domestic workers, the laborers who built the bones of Parkville. But today, the air inside feels heavy with a different kind of silence. History is a living thing, but it requires breath to survive, as every other living thing on this planet. As the 20th century marched on, the harsh winds of segregation and the pull of urban centers drew families away. The pews, which were once vibrating with gospel, began to empty out. And now the beacon is flickering, the roof is failing, and the rain, the same rain that once nourished the hemp fields, is now slowly rotting the slave-built timbers of this sanctuary. And this has got some deep history to it. I was reading about it before I came down here. It's amazing. Now, the restrooms are dark. The walls have been scarred by vandals who don't understand the sanctity of the ground that they stand on. In 1992, it was finally placed on the National Register of Historic Places. But a title is just a ghost if the walls fall down, you know what I mean? Washington Chapel is currently a place in peril. It stands as a monument to the moment a people transitioned from property to pillars of the community. And I absolutely love this. This is gorgeous. It is the oldest black church in Parkville, and it is tired. And as I stand here, I feel the weight of those 80 original members. I feel the ghost of Angeline Washington watching the clouds. If these stones could speak, only if they could talk, right? They wouldn't just cry out in pain. They would sing. They would tell you that on Sunday mornings, the voices of the formerly enslaved rose higher than these bluffs. and proving that while you can chain a body, you can never cage a soul. That's always been one of my favorite quotes right there. But reporting from Parkville, I am Mack Malone, the KC journalist. If you want to help keep this light burning, donations can be sent to Washington Chapel C.M.E. Church at 1137 West Street, Parkville, because some history is just too sacred to let turn to dust. The grounds definitely look like they need to be maintained better. But this is Mack Malone, the KC journalist, signing out. Peace.
Let's go. Mack Malone, he's your KC journalist. True. Mack Malone, he's your KC journalist. Mack Malone, he's your KC journalist. And you know, get the best from the KC journalist. Let's go.